This is Mirage. Mirage is a writer. Mirage loves golf but didn't turn pro. A good thing, because he would have probably starved. He loves motorcycling, can strum and sing a bit, and is committed to nothing except a life on the road.
This is Johan. Johan is a photographer. Johan is more Indian than I am, but carries a Swedish passport. Johan has lived around the world and bankrolled his travel with some pretty interesting gigs. He's picked apples, been a bartender, worked on an oil rig, before finally discovering the camera.
Last year, we teamed up to travel for a year in India and chronicle our experiences. It's been quite a trek, a hell of a ride, a drive like no other, a flight to new horizons, and a voyage that we hope won't end anytime soon. Last week, Meraj and I hot-footed it to the North Indian state of Himachal Pradesh. We set up base in a classic backpacker's homestay and made sorties into the city that houses the country's largest Tibetan settlement, and that is home to the Dalai Lama. Once in town, we did the touristy thing, walking the streets, window shopping, playing video games and eating momos. That done, we went back to exploring the lesser-known suburbs of town. In Dhanoti village, we visited People Farm, a stray animal shelter, organic farm and social enterprise, all rolled into one, set up by an ex-techie who decided to change the narrative of his life. At this sanctuary, we met ex-dairy farm cows, ex-sacrificial lambs, and ex-beasts of burden, all quite enjoying their second lease of life. Now, with the mercury still soaring in the plains, we've come up with a long list of entirely flimsy excuses to extend our trip.
In the upper reaches of McLeod Ganj is an old Hindu temple dedicated to Bhagsu Nag, which translates to the snake god, a reference to Shiva. There's a freshwater spring that flows through the temple, and the water collects in a pool at its base where pilgrims take a dip.
A swimming pool? Johan? How about it, man?
Why not? What ain't wrong?
You're a water baby.
Looks like there's no problems for people to go in their underwear.
Oh, I have a problem with you going in your underwear, honestly. And the viewers have a problem with Johan going anywhere in his underwear.
Once a village and now a bit of a hub, Bhagsu Nag and its residents now cater primarily to tourists. There are shops selling religious paraphernalia, clothes, and hole-in-the-wall kind of eateries, especially on the trail leading up to a popular waterfall. Jugaad. No one innovates as well as us Indians.
Don't you want to go to Chennai?
I think I'd rather not today. Bad day for chicken.
Bhagsu! Here we are!
The sweet smell of Maggie. Yeah, let's get out of it.
Yeah, let's
get
go.
out of it.
Let's go up.
Let's go.
Wow, only the truly determined can make it to the waterfall in these summer months. We are neither brave nor determined. I just hope that Shiva Café, a bit of an iconic establishment in these parts, isn't as crowded as this. It's just a short walk up the hill. What a sea change this place has undergone. I remember walking up here as a teenager and being fascinated by these groups of hippies hanging out, playing music, and generally living life not under parent supervision.
I think this is the DJ console. I can imagine a party happening here. Wow, those are the days, yeah.
Now it's a proper restaurant with a neat kitchen and some pretty fancy fare on the menu.
All right.
What the heck is that, Johan?
So they call this a chicken steak.
I don't know what a chicken steak is. It looks really thin. It looks almost like fish and chips or something.
So that's all you can eat, right, on your keto diet?
Well, I can have the salad because cucumber is good, and I can have.
Is that going to
steak.
be enough for you?
No, so I ordered an omelette as well.
Then that doesn't make any difference. So I can eat something.
So it's not enough anyway. So
It's not going to be enough anyway.
you'll just have my food.
We're doing a bit of a cafe hopping thing in McLeod Ganj. Well, not exactly McLeod Ganj, in Bhaksu and in Dharamkot perhaps.
Yep.
So we've started with Shiva Café at the Bhagsu Waterfall. And we're going to finish this. And what is our plan now, Johan, since you're the local?
I'm thinking that from here we'll walk sideways over here and see if we can hit Dharamkot from here without going back into town.
How would you describe Dharamkot?
That's more of like the hippie central.
And what is Bhagsu then?
I think less hippies and more Indian tourists.
Okay, back in the day, and I'm talking about last millennium here, late 90s,
Like last
when I was a baby,
millennium.
just popped out of my mother's arms and made my way to Bhagsu. At that point, Dharamkot was the meditative place. It was quiet. It was where you wanted to hang out, and it was peaceful, man. Whereas Bhagsu was party central. But now I think it's kind of like all mixed up. Oh, there's some more food coming in.
Oh, here we go. Cheese omelette. Nice.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Johan, we've had a sumptuous lunch at Shiva Café.
Yep.
What's the plan, bro?
We'll go this side, yonder. We'll hit the water pipe and follow the way to Dharamkot
So we're going to walk into Dharamkot
using a shortcut.
using a shortcut.
And then from there,
You know how shortcuts usually turn out.
Bhagsunag is quite an ambient place. Something like what McLeod Ganj must have been a few decades back. What I like most about this place is that you can't drive up here, which means only those who don't mind walking manage to reach.
we are heading to Dharamkot. We made a really strange shortcut through stable.
Counterculture certainly has its virtues. The biggest one being that you can decide to be whoever you are and no one's going to judge you. And if you want to spend the entire day sitting on top of a hill and strumming the guitar, then that's perfectly acceptable. This place gets quite an eclectic crowd. Dharamkot has always been popular with young Israelis, but there are people from all over the world.
Oh, that's the place, no? Morgan's place.
With the hat on it.
With the hat on it. You don't...
They're all Mad Hatters in there or what?
Probably.
We've heard that the nicest place to eat if you like your trout is Morgan's Place. It's been around for a while now, tucked away in a neat little pocket on the side of the hillside in Dharamkot.
Morgan's Place is considered one of the finest restaurants in these parts. It's definitely got the most expansive views of Dharamkot and a proper wood-fired clay oven for pizzas.
Wow, that fish was to die for. As were the lamb chops. In fact, the food was so good that we reordered after we finished shooting. After all that walking around, we had built up quite an appetite.
I'm glad we finished here because this is, I think, the finest meal I've had in this entire trip. Wow. These lamb chops are to die for, man. To die for.
I think I'll order one of those also.
I think you should. To die for, man. So good.
Feels like I'm knocking on heaven's door.
This place gets quite an eclectic crowd. One young Israeli sits down with a guitar and starts playing glam rock. Now that is a real blast from the past. Hey, what is that? Yeah, Johan? Church? Would you mind if we stop for a minute?
Yeah, let's check it out.
I've read about this here. This St. John. This is. It's got a graveyard with this bloke buried here who apparently who built and used to live in the house that the Dalai Lama lives in now. So let's go check it out. What do you say?
I find this grave you're saying down here.
I don't know if you can find his grave, but let's check it out anyway. All right. Oh man, look at this dude, yeah. Wow. So inappropriate, yeah. St. John in the Wilderness, Upper Dharamsala, 1852. Let's go. The man,
How the top is.
it's gorgeous, yeah? Isn't it gorgeous?
There was a spire that got destroyed or something.
It's possible, eh? No, so you know, Johan, Dharamsala was razed by an earthquake, man. Razed. The whole place was razed.
Really?
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, this was one of the few structures, you're right, this was one of the few structures that survived, but the dome fell off. At the back. I don't know. Let's see what it say here. Okay, this monument has been declared to be of national importance under the Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act 1958. But I mean, it doesn't say what.
Just says don't destroy it.
In memory of James Bruce, Earl of Elgin and Kincardine, Viceroy and Governor General of India, previously served his country as Governor of Jamaica, Governor General of Canada, High Commissioner, Ambassador to China. Died at Dharamsala. Wow. Oh, check this out. When he was in China, in retaliation for the torture and death of 20 European and Indian soldiers, he ordered the destruction of the old summer palace at Beijing.
Wow. I went there. I've seen those destroyed.
No, because apparently I've read that artifacts from, so he looted it, and artifacts from that old summer palace, which was a sprawling complex, apparently was burning for 3 days. Took 4,000 soldiers to bring it down for 3 days, setting fire to it, and those artifacts are now found in like 50 countries around the world. No, but look at the irony of it. So this bloke burnt down the old summer palace, inflicting the Chinese an irreparable loss.
Yeah.
And when did he die?
1863.
1863.
It says here he died in 1863 of a heart attack while crossing a swinging rope and wood bridge over the river Chadli on the lap between Kulu and Lahore.
But the thing is that this is where the Tibetans came in 1959, fleeing from the Chinese. Isn't that nuts?
Wow.
And now the Dalai Lama lives in his house.
History certainly has its share of irony. What are the odds that a man probably considered a villain in China? Certainly the destruction of the old summer palace can be considered a loss for humanity, not just the Chinese. Should then come to India and live in a place that would one day be home to the Tibetan government in exile and in fact be called Little Tibet. Fascinating how a series of seemingly disconnected events almost a century apart share a common thread in retrospect. The weather changes in a trice here. The ominous looking clouds fulfilled their promise by the time we reached Sidhpur, a half-hour's drive from Dharamsala.
Oh man, the weather really changes here in a second, eh?
Yeah, it goes quick in the mountains.
Yeah, I mean it was a bit overcast when we left, but I just hope there are no landslides here.
Yeah, in the car we have.
Wow! No way! Abu Dhabi! Abu Dhabi!
Wion Traveler is finally starting on their international trips.
Abu Dhabi!
Abu Dhabi!
What is this? Is this one automatic? Why is this like wiper going like at this warp speed?
Whoa.
I think this car is just like.
It's got a mind of its own.
Oh, it's got 7 minds of its own. I think it's got 5-6 onboard computers.
Wow. Be right here. No, it's going to be the next turn after that one. So, coming up here. Let's go get a little bit further. It is going to be this one, I think.
This house here?
Yep.
Looks pretty sweet.
Let's just turn.
हेलो जी, हेलो।
सर हाय सर।
यार ये बारिश वाली बंद होगी नहीं?
इसका सर आईडी नहीं कोई काम बंद होगी।
ये नाश्ता वाश्ता?
नाश्ता सर रेडी, बस आपके वेट कर रहे हैं।
कहाँ लगा है?
वो नीचे टेबल पे लगा है।
अच्छा मैं देख ही रहा था।
या
ओके,
ओके, वेलकम सर, वेलकम।
Johan has found us another homestay here, nothing like the last one we stayed at. This one seems, well, less atmospheric, but it is way more comfy. There's even a gazebo where we serve breakfast even as the rain pitter-patters around us.
What is? Oh, here come the parathas.
We're going to take 5 and then, if the weather clears up, head out to this Tibetan institute that Johan has been dying to visit.
Norbulingka, is that the Tibetan Institute?
Yeah.
Right, you want to go visit that? Okay.
Yep.
Man, the rain has to stop though, huh? What a time to pick to come here.
Established in 1995 to preserve and promote Tibetan culture and arts, Norbulingka Institute is a mecca for those who are interested in Tibet and its traditional arts and crafts. Interestingly, Norbulingka is the name of what used to be the traditional summer residence in Lhasa for the Dalai Lama and his predecessors, dating all the way back to 1780. Meraj wasn't exactly dying to come here, but when I told him that there's Tibetan food at Norbulingka, then he didn't need any more convincing. Tenzin Rabga, who is the tour guide supervisor at the institute, has kindly agreed to show us around, probably just to make sure we don't destroy the place.
It's quite a large place, isn't it?
Yes, it's about 6 acres.
6 acres? Yeah. Wow. And what sort of architecture would this classify as? This is typical Tibetan architecture?
The basic, all the ground plan is,
Right.
is based on the proportions of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion.
Right, okay. Achha, so it's circular? The whole
Yeah.
thing is circular, okay.
So this is the ground plan of the institute.
Oh, I see, okay.
Okay, so now we are here. This is the money cane or the money stone,
Right.
which we call. So back in times when people used to climb up mountains,
Right.
they used to pile up stones one after the
Oh
other.
yeah, right. We've seen that everywhere. No? In Leh, you see it everywhere.
So one of the main purpose is to know how many people have crossed that mountain or the hill.
Then you know if it's like a popular
Yeah.
road.
And the other reason is like it's for a good luck, so that
Good
your
luck.
journey may be
all those stones piled up on top of the other,
One
they're
or the
also called
other.
monies, right?
Yeah,
And you see them
money
everywhere
stone.
on the roads and things.
So that way, Tibetans they have made a daily like a common practice into a religious practice.
I
So
see,
they
okay.
have also, like you can see, the money. These are money stones,
Right, beautiful.
which is carved with like different sacred mantras
Right.
on it.
Right.
Also, Tibetans they go around the stupa or
Correct.
the money
Or
stone
the
in a
chottam,
clockwise
right.
directions,
Right.
just to get countless merits
Right.
on them.
Very pretty. Shall we do that?
Yeah.
Huh? With parikrama? Okay.
It's a very colorful one.
Beautiful.
Norling House is a guest house located inside Norbulingka and it's open to anyone who would like to stay here. But it's worth a visit just to have a look at some of the historic pictures in the atrium located on the upper floor. Naturally, the Dalai Lama from different times in his life and different places features in most of them. But there are also rarer images of his predecessors and other old photographs from Tibet.
Norbulingka has a number of workshops where artisans are busy at work. There's wood carving, wood painting, and tanka painting, to name a few.
So this is the wood carving section. So inside the wood carving, the training period is for like 3 years, wherein the artists learn how to draw the different auspicious signs and symbols in the beginning. And then also they learn how to make their own equipments, their own chisels. All the equipments are made by the artists themselves. So 2 types of wood which they use is the teak wood and pine wood. The name of this temple is Deden Tulakang, which means seat of happiness. Then also the ark behind the statue, and also on the right hand side you'll see the 12 deeds of Buddha.
Okay.
These are all made by the Norbulingka artist itself.
Okay. And the statue is also made here?
Yes, exactly. So also inside the temple we have around 1,173 images of Buddha.
The gilded copper statue inside the monastery at Norbulingka is one of the largest in the world outside of Tibet. Tenzin tells us that there are very few craftsmen left in the world who are trained in the technique used to make it. What an oasis of peace and calm Norbulingka is. Strangely enough, I can't imagine any other place in the country where it would fit like it does here. Considering how far and wide Tibetans have migrated in the world, the presence of Norbulingka, I suppose, makes Dharamsala feel like a home away from home for those who live here. I've been craving to shoot a proper sunset time-lapse, but the weather hasn't really been conducive. We've barely had any clear skies since we got in. I've been told that the place to try and get one is Nadi village, a few kilometers above McLeod Ganj. Thankfully, we can take a detour and get there without driving through Dharamsala. Nadi is the starting point for a number of treks, including the popular one to Kareri Lake. This time, we don't have time for that. Meraj is disappointed, but strangely, I'm not. You know the feeling when you stash some goodies for later instead of devouring them all at once. I know precisely what we're going to do the next time we're here.
The Kangra Valley in Himachal Pradesh is not just about snow-capped peaks. Next week, Johan and I head south to a remote corner of the Maharana Pratap Sagar, a man-made reservoir so large that it extends into the horizon. From there, we ricochet back to the hills in Bir Billing. Johan takes to the skies, while I try to learn how to take charge of my own fate. In this pretty corner of Himachal, we find a bunch of city folk trying out the farm life for size. On our way out, we pretend to be tea enthusiasts and convince the folks at Wah Tea Estate to brew and therefore squander some exquisite first flush leaves. The secret to a fulfilling life, folks, is to slurp the heck out of it.